Hello, my super Scorpio, and welcome to your moon reading. This is just a general reading, so please do take what resonates and toss the rest. If you haven't had a chance to check out your June moon reading, make sure you do that. Also, your general reading for your weekly energy is up as well, so please do check that out. Otherwise, this is a 7-card moon circle, and we'll go ahead and get started. If you like this, please do like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss your July reading, general reading, which is coming up shortly. This first position is the kind of position that you're in now or current situation. The second card is indicative of what kind of got you or led you to that situation. The third card is similar to the challenge card in a typical tarot reading. It's kind of what's keeping you in this situation. The fourth card is your ultimate outcome, should you follow the advice of the fifth, sixth, and seventh cards. So let's see, hopefully you can see this, but we'll go through them one at a time and get you the information that you need, hopefully. So right now we have change, okay? And that's the situation that I see for a lot of you. So for many of you, this means you're currently going through major changes, okay? So maybe you are coming out of a relationship. Maybe you're in a new relationship. Maybe you're coming out of a job, a situation where you've graduated from school, you're going into a new field, maybe you're coming out of a new or switching career paths, those kinds of things, big changes, okay? And this does kind of jive with the full moon, I believe, that's coming. I think it's July 3rd, again with that. So that's the big changes you might be feeling coming into effect, even, kind of really starting to take hold. So again, feel like for many of you, you're starting to make big changes in your life, okay? Seeing big shifts, new things are coming. Maybe you've recently got engaged, maybe you've recently got married, or you're moving in that direction, new relationships, new jobs, different things. For others of you, you may be feeling this is a situation where you're having trouble with the change, right? You're feeling like you need an absolute change and you just aren't getting it, right? Maybe you're trying your best for that change because you know you need it, but it's just not happening for you yet. But I do feel like for most of you, what's kind of happened is you are going through a series of changes, but it may not be exactly getting you where you want to go. So for a lot of you, I feel like, you're going through changes, but you feel like every time you take a step forward, you're taking 2 steps back, right? So things are changing, but they may not be changing specifically in the direction that you were hoping or that you wanted them to, or even that maybe you just planned. So maybe they're changing positively, but not exactly how you planned them. So happy surprises for some of you. And kind of what's got you there is your path, right? So you plan a path, right, for yourself, and this is what's causing you to make these changes. You're trying to reach some sort of goal. So for those of you who have changed jobs, those of you who've gotten out of a relationship and you're looking for a new one, those kinds of things, this is all because you've been really kind of setting this into motion yourself. You've been working really hard at this, striving, trying to make these changes, and they are starting to take effect now. You're really trying to do that. But for many of you, again, this path is really kind of, it's an uphill climb for some of you, really. And again, those changes feel like they are, taking too long, or every time you feel like you're starting to make a positive change, you feel like you get knocked back a little bit. So this could be like where you're kind of going through it, but you don't feel like you're getting there yet, okay? And what's kind of keeping you in it is boundaries. So I do feel like this boundary is a personally set boundary. I feel like maybe you're setting yourself you're confining yourself, okay, into a boundary based on your path. So you're kind of confining yourself to this. You are somebody who is really kind of set your mind to something, and you're a goal-oriented person, but it's kind of like one of those things where if you get something in your mind, right, like this is what I want this type of person to have a relationship with, I want this type of job, you don't necessarily open your mind or your eyes up to other options, right? You kind of really just exclude anything that's not that, okay? So you might be going through the changes, but if you're not finding exactly what you want, you're not getting to enjoy the other options because you're setting yourself into too many boundaries. It's kind of like you're boxing yourself in, okay? And that's kind of what's keeping you from being able to make the positive changes that are going to get you where you want, because you're not really keeping an open mind. So for some of you, if you are that kind of person that is really strong-willed, really willful, almost to the point of maybe even stubborn for some of you, where you're like, I get my mind set on something and that's what I'm going for, and I don't really like to deviate. You know, a lot of us are like that, right? And we don't like to kind of, you know, really divert from that, because we feel like, well, then we're settling, or, you know, it's just, you know, we're kind of letting ourselves down, things like that. That's not necessarily the case for you this time. This time you may need to keep an open mindset, right? Allow yourself to really kind of experience or try new things, new people, new situations, right? To get to that change. So what's your ultimate outcome is wisdom, right? And wisdom in this specific card or deck really is more like an insight, okay, type of wisdom. It's more like, it's not like wisdom like, oh, I'm reading a book and I have that kind of, you know, base logic, knowledge, that kind of thing. It's more like a wisdom of what you need, what you want. And I think by opening up your mind, opening up your boundaries, opening up yourself to new ideas, new creative things, that you're going to find that there's a lot of things that you are interested in that you may never have thought you would like, you may never have known, you may have never have tried. But by changing that or opening yourself up to new ideas along this path, not being so steadfast, so you know, stick to your one way, then I think you will really end up in this. But how do you get there, right? That's the question. Well, the first thing is practicing self-love. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is make sure that you're prioritizing yourself, okay? So if your path is based on what you think you need to do, if you're one of those people that you just are always doing what you feel like you have to do, right? You're doing it because it's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do this job because that's what you studied for. You're supposed to be with this kind of person because that's what you've always thought you were supposed to do. But it's not making you feel great, then that's not really practicing self-love. You're just kind of going through motions. Think about what you need, what makes you feel good, what's giving you your whole, you know, spiritual enlightenment, happiness, joy. Practice your self-love. Give yourself some downtime to think about what you need, those kinds of things, right? Because you need to put yourself first. It's not about making everybody else happy. It's not about, you know, keeping up with anybody or keeping up with anybody's expectations of you. So you've got to have this type of job, you've got to have this type of significant other, you've got to have that. You know, that's not self-love. That's kind of, you know, making sure that you're making everyone else happy, right? Practice about worrying about what makes you happy, right? And that may be required to change your path, open up your boundaries. Again, this may be where you kind of start seeing things that you never really even let yourself try out that you enjoy, right? Discernment, okay? This is another thing you really need to change the way you view, I think, for a lot of you. Be more discerning in how you look at things. Are you looking at it from a perspective of, this is kind of what I've always done, so this is what I felt like I need to do, and this is what I've kind of got my mindset on, so I'm going to stick to it? Or are you being discerning in the way like, this is what makes me feel happy, this is what I really think would bring me joy, and you know, I'll give it a try and see, and then choosing based on that what's bringing you peace, what's bringing you happiness, what's bringing you joy? Because a lot of times we do things for other people, right? We date who we're supposed to, we take the job we're supposed to, we go to the school we're supposed to, we do these things, but it's not necessarily what brings us joy, right? We're doing it because we feel obligation or what have you. So by changing this and making us, you know, the most important thing there, the priority, and then making those decisions, really discerning about what we feel the most important about or happiest with, then that's going to change our view on what we actually allow into our life, in jobs, in relationships, in family and friends, all of that, right? And then the last thing is attraction. And this is not about specifically what you're attracted to, but this is more so like a grounding, okay? So this is kind of like a gravitational pull here. If you look at like the whole scope of the universe and the planets and this person's attraction to, it's more like your grounding of this. So it's kind of like what makes you feel, you know, attracted, grounded, whole, at peace, at, you know, calm, solid, stable, all of those things, right? What makes you feel that way personally, okay? And again, your path may have been chosen for you so long ago, or it may have been something you picked, you know, like based on this is what I was supposed to do from the time I was in, you know, a kid or in high school or in college or whatever, and that's no longer something that suits you or fits you or you enjoy, you know, and by looking at what you love, what makes you happy now, choosing yourself and those items, and then thinking about what's going to make you feel grounded, safe, secure, and happiest, those are the things that are going to bring you that wisdom of what it is that you need out of life so that you can adjust your path to make you a happier place and change your ultimate outcome, right? Because you really are needing a change. And you may be making changes. You may be going through a series of changes, trying to find that peace, right? Find that spark, find that job, find that relationship that makes you happy, and you just can't hit on it, right? You're like, I can't get it, I can't hit on it. And it's because you're doing things that, you know, you feel are within your boundaries on this path that maybe is no longer the best path for you. And you really need to be opening up your mind and, you know, kind of reconfiguring what you feel is best for you so that you can, you know, really kind of reach for the stars with having the wisdom of what makes you feel fulfilled, what makes you feel joyous. So I do think that is kind of where you're headed. I think that's ultimately what you'll find. But you are going to have to kind of make sure that you start setting yourself as a priority, picking things that make you happy, not what you feel you need to do, but what you feel you enjoy and what makes you feel safest, most grounded. Not what others have told you, not what you may have preconceived in the past, but just what's happening for you now, because things change, right? As we get older, as you know, the world changes, as time changes, as our needs change, you know, we should change. We should be evolving. And a lot of times we don't, right? A lot of us get stuck in this pattern where we just keep doing the same thing over and over and over. We keep changing over and over and over to different things, but expecting a different outcome. And that's kind of crazy, right? So, you know, but I do think you will make those adjustments. And I do think you will get to, you know, your moment where you realize what's really matters to you, and you'll be able to reach that. So I do think this is going to work out really well for you. So I hope everything does, and please do like, subscribe, share, all that other great stuff if you enjoyed this, and otherwise hope to hit that notification bell, please, so you can check out your July readings. Bye.